Hi everyone, this is Alert Day Trading. The purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, see if there's any corrections I could be making, and to just talk about some ideas I have about the markets. And something that I've been thinking about is day trading skills, day trading exercises. And if I was to be asked, what do I think the most important skills when it comes to day trading, I think the number one skill would be sticking to your stop loss. The number two skill would be raising your stop loss, for example, to break even or maybe below an EMA level or some kind of exit indicator that falls into any specific plan. For me specifically, I like to use the 9 EMA. So if I enter a stock, for example, right here, and as the price continues to rise, so this would be my original stop loss level, and I'll raise it along the 9 EMA. Also depending on the market conditions. So this is trending really nicely, so this is an easy raise. If you look, for example, I'm currently in a trade right now, BNGO, and you can see it was moving kind of sideways here. So in this case, I might not raise it too quickly, but as you can see right now, it's moving up, so I'm likely to raise my stop loss with the EMA, which I'm actually going to do right now as I'm currently in the trade. So I'm currently profitable in the trade, so I'm going to make sure that I stay profitable. I just actually took profits around these 260 mark, so that is a good sign. I'm going to and I just took another profit right there. And those were automatic orders that I had originally put in. So right now I'm going to raise my stop loss to break even, which happens to be just below the EMA as well. This is the 5-minute EMA. So the 3-minute EMA is about 249, so pretty close to the 5-minute EMA. So I'm going to do that right now. This actually worked perfectly to use an example of what's happening in real time. So my original entry was around 243 right here. And then my stop loss was below these candles, which would have been about 217-ish. So in my first take profit was in the 260s area. And so but the stock was kind of moving sideways. So I kept my stop loss pretty much at my original level. But obviously as the stock is moving higher, I'm raising my stop loss level with the EMAs. And I usually use it according to which time frame I entered the trade on. So I use the 1 minute, the 3 minute. And the higher the stock goes, I generally try to use a larger time frame because it maximizes the profit so I don't get stopped out too early, especially after I've already taken profits. In this case, I have. But I'm still trying to get to my second profit target, which is going to be in the 280s. So if it doesn't work out in my favor, now that I've raised my stop loss levels to break even, I'm guaranteeing myself that this trade will remain profitable. So right now my stop loss levels are around 247, so just below that $0.50 mark, which usually serves as good support. It's also right above my break-even level, so I won't turn a positive trade into a negative. So I'm hoping to get another 10 cents or so for my second profit target. So anyway, this video is turning into a live trade. So, but what I did want to talk about is utilizing trailing stop losses. So I recently made 3 previous videos. So talking about the most important skills I think are involved with day trading. So number 1 being your stop loss level, sticking to it. Number 2, raising your stop loss level, like I said, with maybe an EMA in this case, or to break even. And then the third would be to take profits. So this trade, as you can see, I took profits according to my strategy, which is to take profits pretty much every risk level. So if I'm risking about 25 cents, then I will take profits 25 cents above my entry level. And in that case, it was about the 60s mark. So another 20, 25 cents above that would be in the 80s. So we'll see if we can make it to $2. And right now it's set at $2.87. And then, so if I were to be asked what would be the next most important skill, that would be using a trailing stop loss. So let's go to BIDU, BIDU. This is another trade that I'm currently in right now. And my entry was right about, zoom out a little bit, it'll be easier to see. It was right there. And so we were pulling back and I saw a lot of momentum, and obviously the trade ended up being profitable. So I ended up taking profits along the way. But my strategy is, once I reach my second profit target, I feel very confident that this trade can either keep going, or if it turns around, I'll still be profitable. So in this case, my risk was, let's say 209.40s was my entry, and then 208.60. So we're talking about almost $1 per share of risk. And so, for example, every dollar the price went up, I took profits. But as you can see, we went all the way up from about 208, 209, where I entered, to 214. So that's almost 6 profit targets. Well, what I do after reaching 2 profit targets is I use a trailing stop loss. And basically, if I'm risking $1, then I will set a trailing stop loss at $1, a little bit more than $1, just to give it a little bit more room. So I might do, $1.12. Actually, that's exactly what I did in this case, just to give it a little bit more room. And I actually just got stopped out. So 214.72, $1 before that is 213.72. So as you can see, we broke those levels. And then I use also, depending how far the stock has gone, I'll maybe split up the remaining shares and put about 2 or 3 trailing stop loss orders. So in this case, I did another trailing stop at $2. And so $2 before that, below 214.72 is 212.72. And you can see we did break below those levels here. So I did get stopped out with those remaining shares. And I have my last remaining shares at about $3 trailing stop loss. And as you can see, we haven't broken those levels yet. So we got really close, 211.74. Like I said, I give it a little bit more space than $3. So that's a really good example why I do that. Because now it was within 5 or 10 cents of getting stopped out, and it turned around. So if you think about it I think about it in percentage wise. So if you're thinking, if I think, let's say 1% is $1, well, the higher the price goes, that 1% increases to about $1.02 or so, or 3 cents. So the higher the price, the wider the dollar amount for the same percentage number. I don't know if I'm making that clear enough, but if you think about, if you're taking $100 stock, 1% would be $1. Well, if the price goes up to $110, 1% is now $1.10. So that's why I like to use a little bit wider trailing stop loss as the price goes higher in my favor. Anyway, that is how I use trailing stop loss. And that is probably the next important skill that I think any day trader should be good at after getting good at sticking to stop losses, raising stop loss levels to break even or some kind of level according to the strategy, taking profits, and then using a trailing stop loss. And basically, I think just, what I did is I told myself for the next 20 or so trades, I'm just going to focus on this skill no matter what happens. And, as I improve at that skill, once it becomes second nature, I don't have to think too much about it. I just do it. Then I'll add on a new skill and focus on that. So as you can see now, we just made a new high at 215. So my trailing stop loss has now come up a little bit. So my remaining shares is going to be stopped out now at about, say, 212.16. Now it's continuing to go up. The only thing with trailing stop loss that I'm not crazy about is, let's say this goes up to 215.02, and that's the most recent high. And if I put exactly $3 below the high, well, that means the stop will be at 212.02. And normally you'd want to put a stop loss normally I would want to put a stop loss level right below the dollar mark. So I would put it at 211.97. So I'd give it a few extra cents. That's the only thing that I don't have control over when it comes to using trailing stop loss. But I still think the potential outweighs that specific risk. So I still like to use it. Let's just take a look at BNGO really quickly, see what's happening with that. We still haven't reached a 280s mark. We had a big pullback here. I have my stop loss below the 247 mark. So we still only reached one profit target. So my stop loss, I raised it to break even. And this is a good example. If I stuck with the EMA raising it with the EMA, let's use the 3-minute time frame here. So if I raised it with the EMA, we would have stopped out at 257. But I think there's big resistance or support at $half marks. So even though it's at 257, the EMA, I still kept it below the 250 mark at 247. We got really close to getting stopped out, but so that's where I kind of combine whether I'm going to use the EMA or some specific price level. So I still raised it, but then I didn't continue raising it after once we passed 250s. But if we continue to make, if we get into the 280s and get a second profit target, then I'm definitely going to raise my stop loss with the EMA at that point, just because that's kind of a big drop to deal with after already being profitable. So still in the trade, and so I'm looking for 280s, and then pretty much after 280s, then I will use a trailing stop loss because that's my second profit target. And there you go. Well, just to remind you, the purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on good behaviors I'm doing, see if there's any corrections I could be making, talk about some ideas I have about the markets, and if you can learn from any of that, that is definitely a positive. So just a quick comment about this trade. So when market conditions change, for example, here we have a high, right? And here we have a low, and now here are we making a lower high? So now the trend could be changing. So in that case, we're still pretty close to this stop loss level. So I'm pretty much going to keep it, but I'm not going to give away too much profits if I stick with that level. But it's looking like the trend might be changing. This is a lower high. So we'll see if this level can hold the EMA. Something I might actually do is now split my which I'm actually going to do right now just to not give away too much profit. I'm going to split my position in half and put some stop loss level. So now I'm going to do half below the EMA, and then the rest below the break even. But that red candle didn't close, so that's a good positive signal. But there's still maybe some resistance with the VWAP, volume weighted average price. So we'll see if we can break above these levels. If not, the time of day, it's getting near to the lunchtime in the East Coast and West Coast. It's at 8:30 right now. So the probability of the stock continuing to go higher decreases. So we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you for watching. And the 10-minute time frame still has a nice bull flag here. So the 10-minute time frame is holding nicely. Let's see what the 5-minute looks like. So the 5-minute, this is a larger red candle than you would hope for. If we can break above the 280 mark, that's definitely a good thing. But obviously volume is decreasing here, and you want that to be kind of going the other direction. So, all right. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and good luck.